Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hello, my name is Louis Herms, and this is SBG News and Views. And hey, folks, if you haven't liked, followed, and subscribed, please do all of the above. And guess what? They did it again. Rumble took another chunk. I'm sorry, was it Rumble that took a chunk of subscribers or somebody else? Rumble blames it on somebody else, so who knows who it is. So, that just means that many of you that are subscribed were unsubscribed, so double check your subscription, please. Is it monotonous? Is it annoying? Is it a pain in the ass? Yes, all of the above. But it is what it is at this point, guys. We just keep on keeping on. Now, again, if for some reason we get taken off this platform or any other platforms, there's always a way to find us. So go to screwbiggov.com and click on the newsletter. If you put your information in the newsletter and we just disappear, you will get an email and be able to find out where we are. We've gotten eliminated, deleted, and shadow banned from several channels. Therefore, we also have, right under where it says newsletter, you'll see all the links to our social media. Why is that important? Because it's hard to even search for us on social media now. So if we get taken off or we're shadow banned, you just click on it and you can subscribe. You'll also find on screwbiggov.com access to all of our films, Remember Your Oath, Freedom in Action, and of course our swag. And if you want to click on any of our sponsors to support them, you will also find that at screwbiggov.com. All right, so let's get to this. Today's an interesting day for sure. There's a lot of kind of weird news going out, and we've seen that there's a lot of Patriot infighting, which I'm sure both sides think that they're doing the right thing. I don't know. Maybe they're going for clicks. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. I think it hurts our community. I think the division is absolutely 100% intentional. And I'm not saying intentional from the people who are putting out the information. I'm saying from a darkness side. This is what they would want. They would want nothing more than our Patriot community to tear each other to shreds, because we're the ones that should be activating and working with inside of our local community and districts to change things. We're the ones that should be getting the positive message out. Although it seems like we're spending a lot of time on exposing other truthers and other patriots. So it is what it is at this time. I want to go over a couple things that I think are extraordinarily important, and then we will be bringing on a guest of mine that many of you know as Michael Jaco. In fact, he's actually been immersed in some of these attacks against patriots, so we'll probably cover that also. So here's something I want to talk about. You ever hear of some dude named Thomas Jefferson? Well, Thomas Jefferson wrote on the right to change one's government in 1776, right? Let me quote what Thomas Jefferson said in the ramifications of this. This is his quote, his writing. He says, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impelled them to the separation. That may not be clear, but now let's listen to the rest of his statement. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, listen to this, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That means our consent. That whatever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles, and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. That's from Thomas Jefferson. Now let me read you a little bit from the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so this is an article that I'm going to read from, right? It says that we have the right to overthrow our government. Let's be FBI, I'm not condoning that, by the way. I'm just reading an article, so chill out. Back off, you little bastards. It says, do we have the right to overthrow the government? The Declaration of Independence says that we not only have the right, but we also have the duty to alter or abolish any government that does not secure our unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Given that the U.S. was formed by settlers who threw off the British government rule, there's also a historic precedence for overthrowing the government. The right to revolt. The idea that people have the right to overthrow their government has a long and complex history, stretching back at least to the ancient Greeks and Romans. In the modern era, the idea has been most closely associated with the philosophy of classical liberalism, which emphasizes individual rights and limited government. Isn't that interesting, guys? Classical liberalism, everything's inverted, remember that. Classical liberalism emphasizes individual rights and the limited government. Isn't that not what we call conservatism today? Everything's been turned on its head for a reason. This is not accident. None of this accident. It is all calculated. It says the idea of the right to revolt was famously articulated in the Declaration of Independence, which declared, and this is where it's important, that, quote, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government. Then the Declaration went on to argue that when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Goes on and on and on. But I think you guys get how important this is. So what is the response from the deep state? Well, in my opinion, the response came originally in 1948. Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedures. This is Part 1, Crimes, Chapter 115, Treason, Sedition, and Subversive Activities. Section 2385, Advocating Overthrow of the Government. Isn't it interesting that there'd be a citation written specifically about this? Now, here's what's even more interesting. I've learned that this was revised in 2021. So this citation says, whoever knowingly or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or property of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States, of the government of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof, or government of any political subdivision therein, by force of violence or by the assassination of any officer of any such government, or, this is a key, whoever, with intent to cause the overthrow of destruction of any such government, prints, publishes, edits, issues, circulates, sells, distributes, or publicly displays any written or printed matter advocating, advising, or teaching the duty, necessity, desirability, or proprietary of overthrowing or destroying any government in the United States by force or violence, or attempts to do so, or whoever organizes or helps or attempts to organize any society, group, get this, whoever attempts to organize any society, group, or assembly of persons who teach, advocate, or encourage the overthrow or destruction of any such government by force or violence, or becomes or is a member of or affiliates with any such society, group, or assembly of persons knowing the purpose thereof, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned no more than 20 years or both, and shall be ineligible for employment by the United States or any department or agency thereof for the 5 years next following this conviction. It goes on and on and on and on. They say again, organizes and organize. Two people are a conspiracy. They go on to talk about that. To me, this is the deep state's answer to the Declaration of Independence. Although this was revised, and this is an important note, this was revised in 2021 and took re-effect January 3rd, 2022. So this could be said that President Trump had this put through in order to take care of the deep state. So maybe he flipped the tables on it. I am saying this for a reason. It is our right and it is our duty to take care of a corrupt government. It is also, based on this, a double-edged sword you have to be very careful about. And the reality is, we're talking constitutional law, which said we have the right to overthrow our government, and the revised post 1871 corporate law. And this is the games that they play. So it is very important to understand this and really pay attention to this and be careful with your words. I think it's very, very important. So that's just the teaching of today. Real quick, I want to do something before we bring on our guest. This is our incredible sponsor. It's not showing, Lisa. I don't know why. What I need. Oh, do I need to click on it again? Huh. Very weird. There it goes. Maybe it was just delayed. Anyways, this is our new sponsor, which we are thrilled with. This is Midas Gold Group. They are an absolutely amazing, phenomenal group. Call Matt directly, and he will take care of you. Just go to MidasGoldGroup.com or call 480-725-0536. The reason why we're so proud of him is because we know they deal direct. He's very honest, and he'll talk to anybody. Now, if you do not have the funds, literally, like you just are desperate, maybe eating 1 or 2 meals a day, we understand. You can still call the number, and Matt and I have an agreement that we will, if you are legit and you're not trying to take advantage of us on the honor system, he will have a talk with you and send you a free silver coin, which I think is pretty awesome. All right. Now, our guest seems like he is in the back office. Let me find. Here it is. Boom. Hey, where did he go? There he is.
Hey, Louis.
You are blurry today.
Ah.
It's probably on our system. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, Mike, it is awesome to see you. For you that don't know, folks, this is Michael Jaco. In fact, Lisa keeps dropping off. She's having internet issues, and I wonder if that's affecting your feed also. So, all right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I had a problem earlier, and so I came in. I had a problem. I dropped out. I changed my internet. The internet's been really screwy here, so I don't know if that's happening everywhere.
it's all right. So, just so you know, folks, what Mike's CGI is messing up. So you're seeing a blurred vision because it's not digitizing his face properly. Because you know he doesn't really exist. This is all just fake. So we're just letting you know that's what's really going on today. I guarantee you somebody's going to believe me too, Mike. I'm just going to let you know right now. That part of the clip will probably go viral. How are you been doing?
Very good, very good. Doing a lot of shows. Just did one with Scott McKay, so we had a good talk, and I heard some of your conversation earlier. So we're all moving in that kind of direction. So it is something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I think it needs to be talked about. Open conversation. We have to be careful the way we talk about it too, because
Sure. Mhm.
I think if people go off half cocked, it doesn't help the movement, and it certainly won't help them because the deep state baddies are looking for every excuse to take us down, and we don't need to give them that. So we just need to be. So the reality is, real quick, you know this: we're in a war. The deep state has been acting with military precision against us for centuries, right? If
Yep.
we, the people, intend to win this, we have to act with military precision. Would you agree?
A fairly good job of like swatting them down for a short period of time, but they we didn't finish the job. And I know a lot of the World War II veterans are rolling over in their graves because they see that basically they rose back up and now they're in power. So this
Yeah.
was something that we should have been aware of back then. So we learn. Sometimes we learn the hard way. We have learned, and now we have to regain control again. So part of that process is like what a lot of us are doing right now is just bringing awareness to people and showing them what the game is about, showing them how this war is progressing and how we can win.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and one of my frustrations lately is, and I know you've been immersed in this because you've been part of the attacks, is the Patriot community now is seems it's like more important to them to create drama. Maybe there's not enough going on for them, and so they start attacking you and all these other people. In fact, I've been drawn into it but I don't respond, which really frustrates. I mean,
Mhm.
there was an issue on another channel about not you, but some other people, and sure enough, I get sent the video by 8 different truthers asking me what's my opinion of this, and I said, well, I appreciate you asking me my opinion, but this is bad. I'm not going to dive into this bullshit. I said I'm not gonna do it because ultimately, even if some so-called truthers have some reason that they need to take somebody down, maybe they feel legit, but I believe it's dark forces that are trying to divide us because if we are divided and if we are distracted, right when we were getting together in unity, working in the same direction, what happens? All this division happens. I don't think that's accident. Do you?
No, and there's no division between you and I and Scott McKay and many others. We've been putting up with these attacks for years, really,
Yeah.
and is it coming to a head? Just maybe to a little certain extent, but we know the deep state has infiltrated everywhere. So it would be naive to think that they wouldn't infiltrate our community as well, and to say that well the our community can't go against anyone that is attacking other people. That's ridiculous. We have
Mm-hmm.
to point some things out occasionally. But I think that those people that are doing the attacking eventually are going to fade away, just like a lot of them already have, or fade down to such an extent that they get very low views, they get very low support, and eventually that's how it ends up. Because we're narrowing this down to a very small wind, like pipe, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I had Ole Demigard on last night, and he's talking about how everything's going boop, 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 into a corner, and at some point it's going to stop, and that's going to be the end game, and then we get birthed into this new reality. It's that birthing process might be a little uncomfortable, but it is going to have to happen, and I look forward to it. I'm no stranger to pain and discomfort, so we're going through that now.
Yeah, and the reality is, what I say often is, growth never comes through being comfortable. It comes through being uncomfortable. So
Absolutely.
these are just uncomfortable times, but we also have choices. So that's why I say, if you feel like you're picking a side, right? I'm pro this person or anti this person, and it creates division within your group and your audiences. It doesn't make any sense. So I choose not to pick a side. I will say when my friends are being attacked, like I do for you and other people, I'll say, well, I know differently about this guy. You know what I mean? And then sometimes I'll get attacked. But my point with this is, so example, you mentioned Scott McKay and yourself. You and I don't agree on every single issue, but we respect each other's value set and we're driving in the same direction all the time, right? I
Yeah.
know Scott's
And
getting frustrated with me on some things, but guess what? We're still driving in the same direction.
yeah. And I mean, I've never agreed with anyone about everything. Sometimes they make some good points, and I'm like, oh, that's some good points, and I'll think about that. And then come back and maybe they are points that are actually valid. Because I
Hmm.
remember I was a very strong supporter of the Florida governor.
Mm-hmm.
here. DeSantis, I thought that he
I don't know if you can hear me, but you are
David Rodriguez
digitized.
say
There you go.
that guy is bad, and I was like, I had you and I both have that remote viewing ability, and I never thought, so why don't you look at him? And I was like, okay. So I looked at him and I'm like, oh, you guys are right.
Mm-hmm.
There is a problem there. And I never really even thought about doing that. So there are, some things that all of us can learn. And I think that's what's happening with everyone. If there are people that, agree with some people that maybe are against me, whatever, and then over time they learn that that person was wrong or right. It doesn't really, it is what it is. Uh, you can always change because I've thought the Republican Party was like, of course they're all good, and now I'm like, if there's anyone good, there might be two or three that are good.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can change as the awakening process is happening. Like you're talking about, it is uncomfortable. Some people are very hard about their decisions. So if they make a decision that one thing is good, they don't care what happens. They're not going to change their mind. That's going to get costly, I think, going forward. So you have to be very flexible, I think, in your opinions and how you view things going forward.
Yep. I would agree. And you know what? Something that adds credibility for me to you, and this is maybe a little inside information, but I think you're probably willing to talk about it. Is on one of our truth tours in Sarasota, you were poisoned, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember specifically how sick you got after that, and you said it's the sickest you've ever been in your life. You and I know you don't talk about this much, but why I think it's important to mention that is if you weren't doing the right thing, there would be no reason why would have been a target to be poisoned.
Right. Yep.
And I know it's happened to me
And
two
both of
times.
us knew who that was because you
Yes,
kind of noticed something strange about the person.
absolutely.
I noticed something strange about that person, and
Yep.
because that's how they pass stuff, and they aerosolize it, or they can wear a little glove and basically have it on their glove and chicken. I'm not talking about like a put when you go out
No,
into
they just cover their palm with
cold
it.
weather. Yeah, it's basically a clear type of palm thing, and it's on there, and they come up and shake your hand, and because we a lot of us feel obligated, not really obligated, but we want to interact with people, and they take advantage of that. And so yeah, I remember later waking up for whatever reason. I was wearing my Apple Watch, which basically has an alarm on it if your heart rate gets out of control, if you're having like some kind of event or something. And I never had an event ever. I'm like ultra healthy. And so I'm in a sleep and I'm in a dream, and I have like a hand comes in and grabs my heart in my dream, and my watch started going off
Wow.
and woke me up, and I broke that pattern, and I was like, man, I got really sick. I was sick that night, and it was close. So we come back, and am I still doing events? Of course, I still do events.
Hmm.
I'm a little bit more cautious now. I watch the crowd a little bit better, but that's the way it is now.
Yeah, after me being poisoned twice, you should see my wife. She would not let even our friends hand us food anymore. Food or drink. It just doesn't happen. But it is what it is, and I don't want to make this about me. It's just
Yeah.
more proof that they're out to get us for a reason, right? And it's not because
Yeah.
we're bad guys. It's because we're doing the right thing. Um, Speaking
Mm-hmm.
about this weird warfare, you were on to this way before I was, but about 2 years ago in Truth Tour in Anaheim, we saw spiritual warfare live, and I actually saved it. I felt like I was watching Harry Potter in real time. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and I've learned over the time how I fend off spiritual attacks, and it's actually really easy. So interesting enough, today, and I don't talk about this much, and this is where people think it's tinfoil hat stuff, but when you figure out there's a spiritual war, and you can recognize the signs, you'll understand this is not tinfoil hat stuff. This is the type of war that we're in right now. So three
Oh yeah.
times today I had a spiritual attack, and I don't get them very often, maybe once every 2 weeks, right? And generally I just go, be gone, and I say, and it goes away. So the
Hmm.
first one hit me today, and it was a kind of a tinnitus thing in my ear all of a sudden, and it was just like really really weird. I'm like, be gone, and it was gone, which is great. The next one hit me, and it felt like my head was on fire instantly, and it actually felt like I even said, I think I'm having an aneurysm. That it felt so weird, right? And I said, be gone, and it didn't work, which is surprising. And I said, be gone, and it didn't work. And I said, Christ, you got this, be gone. And then I remember something that you told me. Whether you're being attacked yourself or somebody else, throw as much love at it as you possibly can. So I closed my
Mm.
eyes, and all I did is focus love in this area of my head, and it got very, very hot. And within about 10, 15 seconds, it was gone. Yeah, people, that sounds all wacky, but it was a fact. What's your thought process on this stuff?
Yeah, that's it's definitely coming to a head. The attacks are getting more intense, not just on the physical level like we're talking about, but also on the spiritual level. So learning to overcome the attacks like you're talking about, love is the most powerful force in the universe. They don't have access to that. So if you have the clarity to go there like you did, which is good, then you can overcome that. And I surround myself with love. I surround my house with love, and so forth. But they still get through.
Hmm.
They still catch us in a blind spot and so forth. Um, Looks like your show's getting attacked right now, like my show was getting attacked earlier. So there's physical things that can manifest on this 4D. So I think like that's more of like a four-dimensional type of an attack where it's unseen. They use basically the wave energy, electrical energies, and so forth, like they're doing right now with their show, to disrupt that, and sending love to it, like I'm sending love to the show right now, and then anyone that's watching can send love to it. It as a group we can have a massive effect on that, and that's what we need going forward. We need to have more people that are awakening to these levels of attack, like you're talking about, because that's where things are. That's the next level. Because not just Trump that's getting attacked,
Hmm.
like you're talking about. They're basically overwhelming him. Remember, he used to say, "I stand in the way of them getting to you," and now we're seeing that they're getting through him and they're attacking us now, and that's going to filter past us at some point. We're going to get overwhelmed as things seem to be progressing, and it's going to attack everyone that's of the light, waking up, because they want to stop this awakening process.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. So moving forward, uh, I I've been noticing a lot, and this is an assessment of my wife and I, and we're wondering, and I want to know if you're seeing this, is it seems like many people have what I call demon attachments, where they seem to be acting out of character suddenly, right? Have you seen any of that, or do you believe in that?
Oh yeah, that's absolute. I mean, go into any bar late at night, you're going to see a lot of that. So that spirits that we drink can sometimes cause us to allow attachments, allow spirits to come in and take over. So the level of attacks that are going on right now from negative spirits are at an all time high, and a lot of people talk about this for some time now. So I think that's one of the things that we can overcome, and we will have to overcome going forward. It's the demonic level is really, they know that they're on their heel and they're getting pushed back. We're winning. We will win. There's nothing they can do about it. They will try and throw a hand grenade as they exit the room and
Hmm.
try to take some more of us out as they leave. But we can overcome that as well. So you have to be very cognizant of their machinations. Very very demonic time frame right now, but going to the light, using love and the vibrations and so forth will totally make a difference.
Hmm. And in regular news today, what do you think about it? It seems like on Truth Social, Trump has mentioned the word immunity at least a dozen times in the last couple of days. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, immunity for some, but not for all. Immunity. We were just talking about this on a show that I did, where you'll have some people that have been heavily conditioned and programmed in their childhood by these families, these horrific families. So we're seeing a lot of that coming out. So at some point you can look at some of those people and go, well, they were heavily manipulated, and as long as they didn't go over a certain line, like it's something horrific, they can probably be given some kind of immunity. And especially if they, that type of person would turn. So I think we're seeing a lot of that, where as people awaken, law enforcement, FBI, military, and so forth, as they awaken, like I did, and like you did, and like many of the people who are watching this program, uh, as they awaken, they have an influence and they can make a difference. And so we're seeing a lot of these groups that are doing that. And who knows, maybe that you could go back through somewhere in my time and say, like people do this all the time. It's like once CIA, always CIA. It was like, that's dumb. There's good people in every organization. There's good people in the truth community. It's been infiltrated just like everything else. So if someone comes in and says something bad or does something bad in the truth community, you're like throw all of us under the bus? No, it's ridiculous. So that's one of those things where just by association doesn't mean you're guilty. But some people will claim that's the case, and that's not. I mean, if a teacher teaches something that is, as we find out later, that's completely false, are you going to hold that teacher accountable because that's how she was taught to like put out that information? No, of course not. So as that teacher awakens, goes, well, I know this is false that I'm putting out. I'm going to try and sneak in the good stuff. That could be in her favor to get immunity, or are they going to be held accountable? So
Hmm.
there's going to be immunity for some people. Yeah.
So I come out really hard against the FBI and the current CIA now.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, I tell people constantly they are masters at compartmentalization. So you cannot assume that everybody that was an FBI agent or everybody that was contracted or a CIA agent even the Navy SEALs, which you were involved in, compartmentalized like crazy. You don't even know what SEAL Team 5 would be doing versus SEAL Team 6. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've been out saying this for quite some time. There are definitely some bad SEALs out there. One of those in Congress has an eye patch on. So
Yeah,
eye
no,
patch, Dan,
he's a piece of shit. But that's
absolutely.
not that I
But
have
that's
any
a good
opinion.
example. That's a
Yeah.
good example. It's not. There's no opinion about that. He is definitely pushing Ukraine and all that stuff we know is bad. So and he's gone against Donald Trump massively and said the election we're going to keep moving on. It's like
Yeah.
no, it's that's you're obviously a controlled problem. I have seen him personally, and I can tell you that he's a baddie because I met him. When I met him, he didn't do eye contact, and other SEALs we see each other, and it's like you and I when we meet each other, we're like, yay, so we get
Right.
a good conversation going and have a great time. It's like that with every SEAL that I've ever met throughout time, and I didn't even need to know them. But with Dan Crenshaw, I met him, and I said, "Hey, Dan, I was a Navy SEAL, blah blah." And I think we're going to have this great conversation. He like looked down, looked away, and
Hmm.
because he probably feels guilty because he knows he's disgraced the community,
He's a
and
baddie. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And this was during that time frame where a lot of us weren't wearing masks anymore, even though we were kind of supposed to. And so I was on a security detail. So I'm not wearing a mask. He walks up not wearing a mask, and he goes out to talk to the audience. He puts a mask on.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a baddie.
Well, and when we make eye contact, we have to concentrate on two eyes. He only had to focus on having one eye making contact, so I don't know how hard that was for him.
Right. Good point. Good point. So yeah.
Wow. So, my point with this presidential immunity, and some people get frustrated, is I hope the Supreme Court says that President Trump does not have immunity because he's done nothing wrong. And even if he's done wrong what they claim he's done wrong, it pales in comparison to what previous presidents and means that's the golden boomerang to me. So if for some reason the Supreme Court says no, he doesn't have immunity, that would actually be better than saying he did, because that opens it up for everybody else. That being said, though, I still believe under, and you would know better than me, under military law, I believe your immunity doesn't exist anymore. Is that right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are treasonous. Joe Biden from not the old guard, which the old guard is like the professional group that does the cannonading for the presidents. They weren't part of that. They were for Trump when he got on Air Force One, and Biden coming into the Capitol, and you could say, well, he wasn't the president yet, so he took a private jet. And okay, I don't think so. That's not the way it worked. But
Right.
you guys, so there's going to continually be groups that say there's no problem there. Biden, they all except for Robert Kennedy believe that Biden is good. So are they going to get immunity? I don't know. So or maybe they're just playing that because they know that he's going to be taken down or he's been taken down. So there's a lot of people out there that maybe even you and I say that guy is like as good as gold, and then we're going to find out he was completely bad. He infiltrated completely. And vice versa. We're going to look at some people who are like, that guy was so bad. And then we're going to like, oh, he infiltrated. He gave up a lot of information. He's the reason why a lot of these people got taken down. So we're going to see a lot of that going forward. It's been happening over the last several years, so I can't imagine it's going to be any different.
I believe that wholeheartedly. In fact, I actually believe that you may find out that AOC is actually good. She's playing a role.
I agree. I said that for a while now.
Okay,
Very good.
there we go. So she's playing a role that will expose the Democrats. You know what I mean? And okay, so you clearly indicated that you believe there's a plan. If you time, you and I both see, because I've heard you, that this is a war, and the deep state has moves and we have moves. Where are you on this war right now?
I think that we're pretty much 90 to 95% in complete control. And we're probably going to see over the next several months, I don't know, maybe longer. Will it go to the voting? A lot of people are saying no. I can't see it. I can't see Trump winning that, but that's not to say that Trump is not going to. I still believe he's going to be in that position in some capacity, some form, and maybe sooner, maybe a little bit later, but he's going to be there, or some kind of representative of Trump, because Trump is not always there. I've said this for a long time, and of course he's not going to be, because it'd be way too easy for a sniper to take him out. And I think that there have been some Trumps that have already been taken out that are basically that play the Trump role. And I've heard that from a lot of people, that some of them have already been removed, unfortunately. So that's why you're not always going to see the Trump. At what point does the Trump, the real Trump, come forward? Obviously, once the show's all over, once the show's been exposed and he's in that position of power, and the war is basically winding down to a certain extent. We'll probably see the real Trump then, but we're going to have someone like we have been seeing that is playing that role, and that's for the real Trump's safety, of course. And I totally support that. I don't think that'd be crazy to think that the real Trump is out there in all these events. It would be way too easy to take him out, and he is obviously a massive target.
Yeah.
So
It wouldn't even make sense. In fact, I tell people this. Come on, guys. This is where you need to take a deep breath. In fact, a mutual friend of yours and mine disagrees with us. He's like,
sure,
there's no body doubles, and I say, well, let's take a deep breath on this. There's evidence that since there were pharaohs, there were body doubles.
yeah, of course,
I
yeah,
mean, for pharaohs and Genghis Khan and all the Greek leaders and the Roman leaders and the Windsors, and he goes on and on and on. There's always body doubles. We've already known Hillary Clinton has body doubles, right? So to be so naive, and I don't want to say this because these are friends of our stuff, but to really think that
yeah,
Trump doesn't have a body double when this is probably the most important war in the history of the world
absolutely,
is to me is ludicrous. Of course he
good
has
point.
body doubles. In fact,
Yeah,
this first question to me, I was at Mar-a-Lago earlier this month and saw Trump, and the first question I got on my text message, because I wasn't telling anybody I was there, because I don't do that whole "Hey, look at me, look at where I am" type of deal. But
right,
somebody personally close to me, first question was it the real Trump? you know, so I'm clearly not the only one that thinks like this.
yeah, yeah, and that's okay. I mean, there's people are going to believe what they're going to believe. Uh, I guess there's still people that believe that's really Joe Biden, although the evidence is just overwhelming. That's not him. I mean, you have to be really hardcore, closed-minded to look at the old Joe Biden and the new sway of the election. Like what was it, 51, 52 different like former CIA heads and all kind of crazy stuff. We haven't heard from any of those people. Almost
Yes,
every one of those people, we haven't heard from them. And we used to hear from James Comey every day,
that's right.
anti-Trump, just on and on. We haven't heard from them in a long time, and people just kind of like don't think that's a big deal. Or now that I'm saying it, people are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we have it." You know,
Yep.
so
They've been
why?
taken off the map because they've been taken off the map. In
Yeah,
fact,
of course.
um,
Yeah,
my wife and I have been lucky enough in the last few months to sit down with, interview, and speak with over the phone many people that were connected in Hollywood. All of them say the exact same thing. All of them say the same thing.
wow.
It is absolutely a ghost town. They say, well, we barely see any of the actors or actresses or the producers anymore. They say it's hard to find them, and sometimes when we see them for a short time, they don't even look like themselves. By the way, this is universal. None of these people know each other that we're speaking to, but they all have connections in Hollywood, and they're saying, no, it's been years, years, Mike, that this has been gone. Hollywood's a ghost town. I proved on here 3 years ago that it's mainly all CGI that we're seeing. Like proved
Mm,
it 100% without a
you did.
shadow of doubt. All you have to do is guys look at the American Idol where Simon Cowell had somebody on live and live was singing and put Simon Cowell's face on this guy's body live, and you couldn't even tell the difference with the singing.
Mm,
That was a huge disclosure for us. By the way, at the same time, Oprah interviewed Obama, CGI. They said it was CGI, by the way. And the Queen came out CGI, and the Pope disappeared CGI. All of that was within the same few months. So, and I'll tell you, just, if you guys don't think CGI exists in the movies, just go watch any movie with The Rock. But I'm just saying, it's so obvious. Now, there's one person that they actually have contracts that signed over his likeness, and that's Bruce Willis. So Bruce Willis used to do one or two movies maybe every 2 years. Now Bruce Willis suddenly, when he's aging and he can't even say his own name, they say, is doing 8 to 10 movies a year right now. It's all CGI. You talk to people in Hollywood, they'll say yes, it's contractual. He said he signed over his image. And I have people that said since the 80s they've been taking these images of these and they've been trying to get them to sign them over. So, guys, we are in for an awakening that we can't imagine. But the good news is, and I don't do hopium here,
mm.
through our investigation and the people we talk to, my wife and I, they're corroborating that Hollywood is pretty much gone.
Wow. That's very interesting. And I think we're going to see a lot of Congress and the Senate. Some of those people are gone as well. They just keep that show going because they pretty much have to take all of them off the stage and down to Guantanamo. So they're just keeping them on the stage just long enough to however,
Yep.
they basically do the last reveal and basically start taking this down. Who knows? Maybe it's they keep them up there even after they do the reveal. Okay, we basically taken all these people down, and see all those people in Congress. We're going to put them on a boat here pretty soon, and they're going to go down to Guantanamo. But they know we're going to give them a few more days left, and we're going to just let them hang out and continue to play that game that they've been playing all this time. That a lot of truthers, you guys kind of like been blowing off, have been telling you.
They're all actors. I mean, well,
Mm-hmm.
they've been actors forever. They're just playing a different role now. Now they're told, "Hey, go wave that Ukrainian flag before
Right.
we send you back to Guantanamo."
But
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, what's up with you lately? What you doing in the future?
I'm speaking at a Scott McKay event in Ohio. I've been doing a lot of I'm into like the Like Wave. I do a lot of events for that, and kind of like you know travel with my kids to Egypt. We did a dive trip out there. I showed them the pyramids and all that kind of stuff. They've never seen that, so a little bit of building some memories with the kids. That's always good, and just trying to now I want to focus and do a lot of shows. That's why I'm glad you invited me, so I can get out there and just do a lot of shows. I think we're getting really close to major right now, and I want to give everybody as much information as we can during this little calm before the last storm or whatever this is that we're going into, because I feel a lot of tension, and so with a lot of other people, it's kind of like we're getting pressed into that last scene or whatever that's happening for us.
Yeah, I would completely agree. And this is the time. I believe this is time to really pay attention because the spiritual attacks are huge, the physical attacks are huge, and we're in a time of transitioning, the transition of greatness, but it's going to be a bumpy ride, and that's just no two ways about it. I call the white hats the gray hats, and why? Because they have to do things that you may not want to do in order to accomplish where we need to go. So the
Yeah,
psyops upon the psyops upon the psyops can get very, very frustrating for everybody. So that's when you have to get to what you say, that love by vibration, and that's the best way. I think everybody can really help heal, and ultimately, isn't that what we need? Everybody needs to heal from this.
needs to heal and awaken to all of this. And I think that's kind of like there's if I were to ask everybody in the audience right now, are you a white hat? And most people were like, oh, I'm not involved in white hats and all that stuff. But in a way, you are, because you're basically increasing your consciousness, and that's kind of like a white light, white hat. So
Mhm.
there's many of us, and as you awaken to all this stuff and you realize we've been manipulated, and that's the greatest thing that we're disclosing right now, the incredible manipulations, and how awakening to that basically destroys the ability of that to have control over us anymore. And that's the greatest gift that I think we're giving people right now, the ability to see through this and see through it on a rapid scale. Before it was like, people were like, whatever. And like, for the last several years, it's been like, when are they going to come and save us? You're going to save yourself. And the way you save yourself is basically you get in that right frame of mind. It doesn't matter what happens around you at that point. It doesn't matter to me that they tried to take me out so many times. It's like, I probably don't even know how many times they tried to take me out. I'm quite honest. I think I'm sheltered and from some of that to a certain extent. Or maybe they try and hit me and they're like, how did that guy get through that? And I don't even know. I just drive through. And it's like the angels protect me or something. That love bubble, whatever I'm in, gets me through something I don't even know about. I've had people come afterwards on many occasions, and when I was in combat zones, they're like, "How did you get through that?" I was like, "Get through what?" So And I think that's happening for many of us at this point, and that's because we're just raising our consciousness, and it just doesn't exist for us anymore. They can't get through where our vibration is on such a high level that it doesn't even exist. Their negativity and stuff doesn't even have a it doesn't register for us at all.
Yep, yep. I I agree. So, Mike, where can everybody find you?
MichaelKJaco.com. So all my work is over there. Be very easy. So
Awesome, awesome. Any last words for you?
yeah, just like we're talking about, staying in that low vibration. That is the thing that's kept my intuition and all the things that have helped me to see through a lot of these manipulations. That's helped me quite a bit. So I would. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't love these people, and that's where you're wrong because God loves all of us, even those guys. So take that God consciousness, and it does have an effect, not only on you but also on them because it basically influences in the vibration. They want to keep us in fear. They lose shots of us. They use that. If we're not in fear, they get weak and they get vulnerable, and then they go bye bye.
Yep. Beautiful. Well said, Mike. I appreciate you very much. I'm sure we'll see each other soon, and I'm going to play the outro right now for you guys. God bless everybody, and like Mike says, stay in that love vibration, and we're going to get through this. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Louis.